The sky above Earth looked calm, peaceful, and familiar. Blue oceans reflected sunlight. Clouds drifted slowly. Billions of humans lived their normal lives, unaware that everything was about to change forever. Inside the United Terran Assembly Hall in Geneva, the air felt tense. Hundreds of leaders, military officers, and scientists sat quietly. Screens glowed on every wall. Security drones hovered overhead. People whispered, but no one truly understood what was coming. Ambassador Mara Lynn stood at the center. She was calm, composed, and focused. Her dark suit was simple, but her presence carried authority. For years she had warned that something was watching humanity from the stars. Many had laughed. Today, no one laughed. A quiet alarm sounded. A digital voice spoke. Incoming unidentified signal. Origin, deep space. Distance, $0.30. Everyone froze. A hologram appeared above the table. Static at first, then forming into a tall alien figure. The alien stood over 3 meters tall, with pale silver skin and long horn-like ridges rising from its skull. Its eyes were solid black, shark-like, emotionless. It wore ceremonial armor decorated with glowing symbols that pulsed like a heartbeat. A deep, metallic voice echoed through the hall. Humans of Earth, I am Vorakuin, High Speaker of the Galactic Dominion. The room fell completely silent. Even the drone stopped moving. The alien continued. Your species has been observed. Your rapid expansion is a violation of Dominion law. You colonize worlds without permission. You build weapons beyond your allowed tier. You refuse to remain contained. Some leaders frowned. Others looked frightened. One general whispered, They've been watching us. Vorakuin lifted a hand. The room's screens changed. A massive alien fleet appeared on display. 12,000 warships hover beyond Neptune, dark metallic giants with glowing crimson engines. Their weapons hummed with power. They formed a huge spear-shaped formation, pointed directly at Earth. Gasps spread through the room. The alien voice grew colder. The Dominion demands your surrender. Effective immediately. A list of demands appeared beside him. Disarm all military forces. Abandon all colonies outside the solar system. Submit all research for Dominion approval. Accept Dominion supervision for all future development. Swear loyalty to the Dominion Council. Vorakuin paused. You have 72 Earth hours to comply. If you refuse, the image zoomed in on the fleet. Weapons charged. Energy crackled. Your world will burn. The hologram vanished. For a moment, no one moved. Then chaos erupted. Leaders argued. Soldiers cursed. Some shouted for war. Others begged for negotiation. Mara Lynn did not speak. She let the storm of panic explode around her for several seconds. Then she raised her hand. The room fell silent again. Her voice was calm, almost too calm. Everyone breathed. She waited until the panic reduced to fear and attention returned to her. We always knew first contact was possible. We hoped for peace. But the Dominion chose force. A nervous minister stood and spoke, voice shaking. Ambassador, we cannot fight that fleet. We must surrender. Many nodded, desperate. But General Kel Earhart slammed his fist on the table. No, humanity has survived wars, disasters, extinctions. We do not kneel. More voices joined him, louder and braver now. Mara finally spoke again. We will request the 72 hours, not because we fear them. She looked around the room, her voice sharpening, but because we need time. General Earhart met her eyes. So, it's time. Mara nodded slowly. Yes, activate it. A military officer whispered into a secure communicator. 2 words. Protocol Iron Nocturne. Far above Earth, in the silent blackness of space, something began to happen. The moon trembled, not visibly, not enough for normal sensors, but deep under its crust, ancient machinery awakened. Hidden doors, kilometers wide, began unlocking. Massive underground hangars hummed with energy. Thousands of ships, black as midnight and silent as shadows, powered on for the first time in decades. Red engine lights flickered like awakening eyes. Artificial intelligence cores booted, weapons charged. A voice echoed from deep within the moon's structure. Midnight Armada, activation complete. Back in the assembly hall, Mara Lynn's expression remained emotionless. One of the advisors stared at her in shock. You mean the stories were true? We were preparing for war all along. Mara answered quietly. The Dominion never comes for peace. Every species they encounter is forced to serve or die. The moment we detected their first probe 50 years ago, we began preparing. A scientist whispered, almost trembling, "You planned for this day?" Mara nodded. "No, humanity planned for this day." A screen lit up again, showing the alien fleet beginning to move toward the inner system. A digital countdown appeared. 72 hours remaining. Silence returned, not panic this time, but something sharper. Determination. General Earhart straightened his uniform. "When do we speak to them again?" Mara stepped forward, hands folded behind her back. "Now." The hologram connection reopened. Vorakun appeared once again, this time with an expression of boredom. Expecting fear, begging, surrender. Instead, he saw Mara Lynn. Calm, still, unbreaking. She spoke clearly. "Hi, Speaker. Earth acknowledges your message. We request a full 72 hours to consider your terms." Vorakun narrowed his dark eyes. "You may have your time, but do not mistake it for mercy." The connection ended. A slow breath escaped Mara's chest. She whispered 3 words only the nearest officers heard. "We are ready." Outside the assembly hall, the moon glowed faintly. Awakening, waiting, and in the silent void between worlds, humanity's hidden war machine prepared for the greatest battle in history. The moon hung quietly above Earth, cold and still, at least on the outside. But deep beneath its surface, everything was alive. Massive chambers lit up with white-blue light as rows of black warships awakened. Their hulls were sharp and angular, built for speed, stealth, and survival. They carried rail cannons, kinetic swarm launchers, and strange experimental weapons that no alien species had ever seen. Hidden for decades, humanity's greatest secret was no longer asleep. Inside the primary command center, carved into the moon's interior, Admiral Adrian Holt stood before a giant tactical display. He looked calm, disciplined, almost stern. His gray hair and steady eyes made him appear carved from stone. He had waited his entire life for this moment. Engineers, AI units, and officers moved across the command center with purpose. No panic, no hesitation. They knew their roles. They had trained in silence for years. A young officer called out, "Status update. 9,642 ships online. Shield cores charging. Navigation systems calibrated." Admiral Holt nodded. "Good. And the asteroid fleet?" A second officer responded. 4,000 additional ships powering up across the belt. Energy signatures remain masked. Holt folded his hands behind his back. "Excellent. The Dominion still believes we are primitive. That gives us time." A hologram flickered beside him. Ambassador Mara Lynn, communicating from Earth. "Holt," she said quietly, "the Dominion fleet is moving toward the inner system. They expect surrender." Holt's expression didn't change. "And they will receive an answer." Mara gave a faint, tired smile. "Just make sure we survive long enough to give it." The hologram vanished. For a moment, Holt stood in silence. Then he turned to his crew. "Begin launch sequence." Sirens echoed, not alarms of fear, but signals of awakening. Dock clamps released. Magnetic rails hummed. One by one, the ships began to rise. Thousands of vessels drifted upward through enormous shafts carved into lunar rock. When they reached open space, their engines ignited with silent bursts of blue fire. From the dark side of the moon, a shadow spread, an armada taking flight. Meanwhile, lights flickered inside a Dominion scout ship patrolling the outer system. The alien pilot watched his sensors with 4 blinking eyes. Suddenly, multiple energy spikes appeared near the moon. He frowned. Impossible. He zoomed the display. The readings multiplied, hundreds, then thousands. His mandibles tightened. The moon was opening. Ships, Human ships were rising like a swarm of black arrows. He slammed his hand on the emergency transmitter. Command, humanity possesses concealed war assets. Massive military structures detected. But before he could finish, a dark human vessel appeared directly in front of him. Silent. Fast. Too close. Too sudden. A single pulse of kinetic fire cut through the scout ship like paper. No sound. Just fragments drifting into darkness. The human ship turned and vanished, leaving nothing but broken debris. Inside the Dominion flagship far beyond Mars, High Speaker Vorkuin received the final fragment of the scout's message. The recording repeated. They were hiding a fleet. Then static. Vorkuin stared at the playback. Expression unchanged, though a faint ripple in his throat showed irritation. Beside him, an alien strategist spoke with uncertainty. High Speaker, this development was not predicted. Should we pause the advance? Vorkuin turned slowly. No. His tone was icy. They are animals. Animals thrash hardest before the cage closes. The strategist lowered his eyes. Yes, High Speaker. Vorkuin looked again at the moon. The humans had defied expectations. But to him, it did not matter. The Dominion had crushed hundreds of rebellions. Millions of ships served them. One hidden armada would not change the outcome. Or so he believed. Back on the moon, Admiral Holt watched the final ships exit the surface. Fleet status, he asked. All vessels in formation. Weapons cold. Stealth mode active. Holt nodded once. Good. Then inform Earth. He exhaled slowly. Humanity does not kneel. Outside, the Midnight Armada stretched across the stars, silent, disciplined, ready. And the countdown continued. 68 hours remaining. The Dominion fleet moved through the darkness of space like a massive silver storm. Thousands of alien ships glowed with crimson engines, forming sharp spearhead formations designed to intimidate any enemy long before a battle began. To most species, it worked. To humans, it only fueled determination. Inside the Dominion command bridge, High Speaker Vorkuin watched tactical screens with cold confidence. Range to Earth, he asked. A Dominion officer bowed. 7 hours, High Speaker. No defensive response detected. Vorkuin clicked his mandibles in amusement, as expected. But another officer interrupted, hesitant. There is movement near your marked exclusion zone. The moon. Vorkuin turned. Show me. A screen zoomed in. Small, dark shapes drifted across the blackness. Silent, unlit, barely visible. At first, they looked like debris. Then the computer outlined them. Unidentified vessels. Count, 9,600. Every Dominion officer fell silent. Vorkuin stared. They dare. Far closer to the moon, inside the command ship, USS Revenant, Admiral Holt gave his first battle order. Shadow mode until contact. No transmissions. No visible thrusters. We remain invisible until the enemy commits. The Midnight Armada moved like a ghost across space. Their matte black holes absorb light. Their engines burn cold. Even Dominion scanners struggled to track them. Holt watched the Dominion approach on a holographic map. They expect fear. They expect chaos. He looked at his officers. But we have studied them. We know how they fight. A smile ghosted across his face. Small, but real. They will learn how humans fight. An hour later, the first Dominion scouts approached. 5 sleek alien ships move ahead of the main fleet, scanning for traps. As they neared the dark cluster of human vessels, their sensors changed tone, detecting mass where there should be empty space. One Dominion pilot shouted. Unknown fleet confirmed. Engaging scan. But before any scan finished, the stars behind the humans shimmered, and hundreds of small silver drones detached from the armada like dust. No engines. No heat. Just silent motion. They swarmed. The first Dominion scout realized too late. Those are not ships. The drones accelerated with sudden power, smashing into the scout vessels at near-relativistic speed. Not a laser. Not plasma. Just solid metal moving incredibly fast. The Dominion ships shattered instantly. No explosion, just silence and drifting glass-like fragments. Aboard his flagship, Vorakuin's eyes widen, not in fear, but in something new. Surprise. A Dominion strategist whispered. They use kinetic weapons primitive, but Vorakuin cut him off. Primitive does not matter. Effective matters. He leaned forward. Send the Vanguard. 10,000 ships. Destroy them. The Dominion Vanguard advanced, rows upon rows of red shining warships. Admiral Holt watched them coming. No nerves. No fear. Now, he said quietly, we respond. Human ships ignited engines. Soft blue light, glowing like sparks in a storm. Rail cannons primed. Drones aligned. Stealth dropped. In one moment, the Midnight Armada became visible, an ocean of black steel ready for war. Fire. The first volley launched. Thousands of kinetic slugs shot forward. Faster than sound had ever traveled, even in vacuum. They flew in unpredictable patterns, breaking apart mid-flight into micro-projectiles. The Dominion Vanguard opened defense screens, expecting lasers. But shields meant nothing to metal. Projectiles cut through armor like spears through thin paper. 500 Dominion ships were destroyed in the first exchange. The rest panicked. Formations breaking. Inside the Dominion bridge, chaos erupted. They aren't fighting like a military formation. They don't follow standard doctrine. They are adapt. Vorakuin ordered, eyes burning. But adaptation wouldn't save them. Human ships weaved, spiraled, and vanished in the clouds of drones, striking from angles no Dominion system predicted. It was not elegant. It was brutal, fast, efficient, predatory. After 11 minutes, the battlefield fell quiet. Over 1,000 Dominion ships were destroyed. Human losses, 0. Admiral Holt spoke softly, voice steady. Message to Earth. First contact complete. Then, with colder steel, we are not prey. Far away, Vorakuin stared at the wreckage, jaw clenched. For the first time in centuries, someone had drawn blood from the Dominion. His voice was low. Send the next wave. And the stars trembled. The Dominion expected fear. Instead, they met silence, cold, disciplined silence. After the first defeat, the Dominion fleet adjusted formation. Their red engines burned brighter, and thousands more warships surged forward like a living tidal wave. Inside the Dominion flagship, High Speaker Vorakuin forced his voice to remain steady. Do not break formation again. They attack like predators. We answer with overwhelming force. His second-in-command nodded, though worry flickered across his eyes. Yes, High Speaker, the next formation will not fail. But deep down, the Dominion bridge felt something unfamiliar. Doubt. In the Lunar Command Center, Admiral Holt watched the Dominion reorganize. They learned from the first attack. His tactical officer said quietly, that makes them dangerous. Holt nodded. Yes, but learning cannot erase arrogance. He pointed to the holographic map. They still believe numbers guarantee victory. Below the main display, a timer continued counting down. 62 hours remaining. The room buzzed with controlled activity. Officers' coordinated fleets spread across the solar system, Earth, Mars, the asteroid belt, and beyond. On another screen, resistance messages flashed from multiple alien species across the galaxy. We saw your battle. We are watching. Is freedom possible? Humanity responded with only 3 words. Wait, not yet. The Dominion launched their second assault. 50,000 ships this time. They came in layered formations, shield spread, electronic warfare active. They expected another kinetic barrage. But Holt had no intention of repeating the same tactic. Deploy Phantoms, he ordered. Immediately, thousands of small stealth drones scattered across space, projecting false signatures and fake ship signals. To Dominion scanners, the battlefield multiplied. Hundreds of fleets appearing and disappearing in every direction. Dominion captains panicked. Some fired blindly. Some withdrew. Some chased phantom targets into ambush corridors filled with dormant mines. Each mine contained only one simple weapon, a tungsten rod propelled at near light speed. The Dominion shields, designed to resist plasma and energy beams, cracked like glass. Ships vanished in flashes of white light. The battlefield became chaos. The USS Revenant flew through debris fields with surgical precision. Admiral Hope gave orders calmly, almost quietly. Do not chase them. Herd them. Break their will before you break their fleet. Human ships moved like a pack of coordinated wolves. Destroyers pinned targets. Cruisers cut escape routes. Carrier vessels released drone swarms that crippled engines and weapons without destroying ships. Holt wanted something more valuable than victory. He wanted survivors. Survivors talk. Survivors spread fear. Across the Dominion flagship, alarm screamed. Vorakuin slammed his fist against the command console. Why can't we hit them? His strategist spoke with shaking voice. They do not fight like any known civilization. They strike, vanish, reposition, and strike again. Their ships are unpredictable. Vorakuin bared his teeth. Then make them predictable. Force engagement. He transmitted to all ships. No retreat. No regrouping. Push forward and surround the moon. But instead of surrounding it, Dominion ships drifted into another trap. Human rail platforms hidden in the asteroid belt activated, firing huge metal rods at incredible speed. The projectiles traveled silently. No glow, no warning. Only impact. Hundreds of Dominion ships shattered. Not exploded. Shattered, like fragile crystal struck by a hammer. On Earth, Ambassador Marlin watched the live feed. Her expression was not triumphant. It was sad. They came believing they were gods, she whispered, and now they learn we are monsters when cornered. A world leader beside her asked softly, Are we winning? Mara didn't turn. No, not yet. She stared at the destruction. But we are teaching them fear. Back in space, Admiral Holt issued his final order for the battle. Stand down. Do not pursue. Human ships froze in position. The Dominion fleet, broken and scattered, slowly drifted backward. No formal retreat. But everyone knew they were no longer attacking. They were recovering. The battle was over, but the war was growing. As Holt looked at the battlefield, one thought echoed in his mind. They will return with everything. And far away, inside his flagship, High Speaker Vorakuin made his own silent vow. Next time humanity dies. The war changed after the second battle. The Dominion had expected another victory speech. Instead, High Speaker Vorakuin stood before the Dominion Council with a damaged uniform, scorched plating, and tired eyes. The council chamber grew silent. One elder finally spoke. You lost tens of thousands of ships to a single world. Vorakuin bowed his head. They fight with deception, with strategy, with patience. They are not primitives. Another counselor hissed. Then we overwhelm them with more force. Called a vast fleet. Vorakuin lifted his gaze. We already have. A massive display flickered alive, showing the greatest armada ever assembled. Millions of ships forming like storm clouds across star systems. Earth had made them afraid. Now fear demanded annihilation. On Earth, fear also spread, but it took a different shape. In schools, children practiced emergency bunker drills. In cities, sirens tested every 4 hours. People walked with forced calm, but everyone understood the truth. Humanity had poked an empire, and that empire would not stop until someone bowed or burned. In a quiet briefing room beneath the White House, Ambassador Marlin addressed global leaders. The Dominion sees us as a challenge to their rule. If we survive their next attack, the galaxy will change forever. A leader asked, What do they want? Mara didn't hesitate. Obedience. Her voice hardened, and we won't give it. On Luna Command, Admiral Holt reviewed messages pouring in from alien civilizations across the galaxy. Some begged humanity to surrender, to avoid bringing Dominion wrath down on them. Others sent hopeful words. We believe in you. If you survive, we will rise. Show them they are not gods. Holt stared at the messages. They're waiting, he murmured, watching which side of history wins. His officer approached. Sir, long-range sensors confirm movement. Holt turned. How many ships? The officer slowly shook his head. Too many to count. Hours later, humanity watched the sky change. From observatories and rooftops, people stared as faint red streaks appeared like falling stars. News spread quickly. The Dominion fleet had entered the solar system. Over the next hours, thousands became millions, warships stretching across the void from Neptune to Mars. It looked less like a fleet and more like a red storm swallowing the heavens. A reporter whispered on a live broadcast, "It's endless." Inside the Dominion flagship, Vorakuin stood tall once more. "Humanity denies its place in the order of the galaxy," he declared to his officers. "Today, we correct their mistake." He raised a clawed hand. "Prepare the first orbital strike. Target their moon." But before the order transmitted, a new signal flashed across every Dominion ship. A human voice. Calm, controlled, cold. It was Admiral Holt. "Dominion fleet," he said, "you stand within a graveyard." Vorakuin snarled. "Human, you cannot intimidate us." But Holt continued, as if speaking to history itself. "You believe numbers win wars. You believe fear controls the galaxy." Holt's eyes narrowed. "But humanity does not break." Screens changed. Suddenly, Dominion sensors detected new signatures, thousands of them. Not ships, not exactly. These were weapons hidden in the Oort cloud, dormant until now. Mass drivers, rail platforms, quantum mines waiting like teeth in the dark. Slowly, domino-style alerts filled Dominion displays. "Target lock, target lock, target lock." Holt's voice returned. "You came believing you were executioners." A long pause. "But today, you learn we are not prey." The final words echoed across the fleet. Protocol midnight begins. Space ignited. Railguns fired. Mines activated. The third and greatest battle had begun. Protocol midnight was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. The Oort cloud, once a silent ring of icy debris, came alive with fire. Rail platforms launched massive tungsten rods at relativistic speed, each one cutting through Dominion ships like spears through paper. Mines detonated with precision, releasing EMP bursts that shut down targeting systems and engines. The Dominion fleet, once a perfect formation, fractured under chaos. Some ships fled, some pressed forward. Many simply vanished in white flashes. Inside his flagship, High Speaker Vorakuin gripped the rail beside his chair. His voice trembled, not with fear, but with realization. They planned this. Every asteroid, every silence, every feigned weakness was a trap. His strategist whispered, "High Speaker, they knew we would come." Vorakuin closed his eyes. "Yes, because they understood us better than we understood them." Human ships didn't remain passive. Once the Dominion line fractured, Admiral Holt gave his next order. Phase 2, release the swarms. Thousands of small automated drones launched from hidden bases and carriers. They moved like a living storm, fast, silent, unpredictable. Their purpose wasn't destruction. It was paralysis. They disabled engines, melted weapons, hacked systems, and forced Dominion ships into immobility rather than destruction. Holt wanted survivors, not bodies. Survivors spread truth. Survivors end empires. The Dominion tried one final push. A massive dreadnought, the size of a floating continent, forced its way forward, shields glowing. It fired a plasma lance toward the moon, enough firepower to destroy a city. But the blast never reached its target. 10 human capital ships took the hit, shield generators overloading, hulls cracking. Yet none broke. They held the line. Then the USS Revenant, Holt's flagship, charged forward, engines roaring. "Target the dreadnought's vent core," Holt ordered. Railguns fired. The shot struck, and the Dominion symbol of power shattered in a silent burst of molten metal and broken pride. At last, Dominion communications collapsed into a single repeating message. "Ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire." Holt exhaled slowly. "Stop firing. All units hold position." Human ships froze, silent, disciplined, unshaken. Across the solar system, Dominion engines powered down. Millions of ships surrendered, not because they could not fight, but because their belief in their own superiority had died. Hours later, Holt stood aboard a meeting platform near Earth orbit. In the center stood Vorakuin, no longer proud, only exhausted. The two faced each other in silence. Finally, Vorakuin spoke softly. "You could have destroyed us." Holt nodded. "Yes. You chose not to. That was never our purpose." Vorakuin's gaze lowered. "For generations, we ruled through fear. We believed control was peace. But you showed us a different kind of power." He swallowed. "Humanity has won more than a battle. You have broken an idea." Holt stepped forward. "Then hear one truth, so your empire never forgets." His voice carried the weight of every human who had lived through fear. "We do not seek to rule the galaxy." A pause. "But we will never kneel." Vorakuin bowed his head, not forced, but willing. "Humanity will be respected." The war ended not with fire, but with understanding. Months later, a council formed. Dominion representatives stood beside species once too afraid to speak. And in the center, human diplomats and officers sat not as rulers, but equals. A new structure rose, the Galactic Accord, a promise. No species would rule another. No fleet would force obedience. Strength would protect, not control. On a quiet night, Admiral Holt sat overlooking Earth from orbit. Stars shimmered beyond the glass. His second-in-command joined him. "It's over," she said softly. Holt shook his head. "No." He smiled a tired, calm smile. "It has just begun." Because for the first time in history, the galaxy was free.